Welcome to Wildfire. I'm Denby, and this is Midlife Medicine for Women on the Rise. Here, we believe your body isn't burning out, it's burning through. I speak with healers, teachers, and medicine women who walk this path alongside us. And once a month, in our Wisdom in the Room segment, I sit with real, ordinary women whose stories are the medicine. No pedestals, no credentials required, just truth. So, let's light it up. Today's Wise Words with guest is someone I discovered, or more aptly rediscovered, in a way that felt less like coincidence and more like the kind of thing that happens when two women who have been walking parallel paths for long enough that the universe finally decides to reintroduce them. Dr. Kathrine Burns is a somatic guide, nervous system practitioner, and women's evolution coach who has been doing deep work with women navigating the midlife transition, essentially helping them understand what is happening, not just in their hormones, but in their nervous system, their identities, and their sense of who they are becoming. She holds a doctorate that underpins the rigor of her work. But what I love most about Kathrine is that her medicine goes far beyond any qualification. Like me, she has walked her own deep recalibration, and she knows this terrain from the inside out. We discovered recently that we have actually been walking remarkably parallel paths for the last 7 years, since all the fuckery, as I call it, both moving through our own journeys, both emerging with something to offer women at this extraordinary threshold. So I cannot wait for this conversation. Kathrine, welcome to the fire.
Thank you so much, Denby. So grateful to be reconnecting like this and to be able to be connecting with all these women that are in dire need of what you're doing and what you're recalibrating them to at the moment.
Yeah, it's like we're almost just like weaving the new circles back together. And it's not just there's just one circle. Like it's not just all about me and my circle and you. There's lots of women doing this, but we're reweaving the communal circles. It feels a lot like that because, we have known each other for a long time. And then just with all the stuff that's happened in recent years and kids and stuff and life, we didn't disconnect intentionally. It's just like everyone sort of just gets focused on what they're doing. So yeah, I'm really excited to reconnect with you because we always had a lovely vibe going on. So thank you, darling. Before we go into the work, I want to start with the story of how we initially found each other because it's kind of important for what's happening for women right now, and certainly in this midlife crucible, let's call it. So,
Let's call it that.
yeah. So, I know you reached out after coming across my work again and realizing that we've been doing very similar work for a long time without knowing. So, what struck you when you made that connection, that realization?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was like coming home. That sense of recognition of, well, I think we've both evolved with our work, as anyone who's working quite consciously does.
Mm.
There's an evolution as we learn, as we grow, and as we experience life with all its ups and downs, particularly the last 6, 7 years. And yeah, so the fact that we are both playing in the somatic, we're both working around embodiment and full sovereignty on all levels. And then the fact that perimenopause hits as such,
Mm.
and everything you think you knew is turned upside down.
Yeah, pretty much. A few times in the washing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts. So, what does your own journey look like? Personally in your body, in your work, in your sense of self. What would you like to share with listeners for your own?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was very intense and very deep and lasted for many years. I suspect it actually started soon after I gave birth to my daughter, actually. And I'm a body worker, I'm a chiropractor, I'm an energy worker, I work with the superconscious, I do energy and identity reorganization. You would think I would know what was going on. But I was stressed, I was single parenting, I was rejigging my career, I was caring for my dad who wasn't doing so well, and then the anxiety hit, and then the anger hit, and then the insomnia hit.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
had it all. And then, of course, COVID hit. And then, of course, I think our house flooded in amongst all of that. And I was trying to help my mum redo with that. And I was just a mess. I was so angry, so intense. And I was working, as we do. We
Yeah.
don't stop.
No, no, you actually get more clients in the door.
Oh my goodness, look at all this.
Got to
So
help more people. Yeah.
Wildfire's the perfect name.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so I had clients and clients and clients coming on in. I didn't stop until I couldn't keep going and had to literally look at what was actually going on, of course. But it was mad. And
yeah.
with all my tools, all my everything, I thought it was life. I thought it was stress. I thought it was circumstances. I didn't recognize it in the fullness of what was going on for a long time. And that's kind of funny and very sad at the same time.
Well, no, I think thanks for sharing that, Kat, because I think that's a really important point, and there's not a lot of or enough of us practitioners actually being really honest. I feel anyway about how challenging it is because we're in that role, especially if we've been therapists of different kinds for decades. We do just sort of a lot of the time just function on like autopilot, or like this is who I am, and this I've got to hold everyone together, and people come to me, and how that sort of perception of ourselves, whether we do that unconsciously or not. So to actually admit that, oh my God, I've got the full toolbox, I've got the masterclass of masterclass toolboxes, and yet I'm still being affected. The honesty and the humility that it takes for us to admit that, because women like us, practitioners, guides, teachers, no, we're not exempt. We're not immune from midlife. Obviously, we're not immune from this rite of passage. So I did try to avoid it and convince myself that I might be as well for a little while. Although, I had very similar circumstances going on in my life to you, but I had my chrysalis blood tonic, and that was a lifesaver for me, which I talk about a lot. But it's because, what's your perspective? And midlife asks so much of the healer herself.
Yeah.
What have you witnessed with other people or your clients that might be teachers and leaders as well coming to you?
Oh my goodness. It's a complete identity reorganization.
Yeah.
It's complete, it's whole and complete. You can't come out the same way you went in to the tunnel as such
Yeah.
through the fire.
Yeah.
Um, we've spent all of our lives compensating, dealing with, being impacted and influenced by all sorts of stuff within our bodies, our being, our chemistry, how we've run our lives, and we simply can't do that anymore. We're too impacted nowadays. We're too impacted by so many things that the truth is being revealed faster. The light is being shone on this quicker, and women are being called to change or drown. And we simply can't let them drown. We're all in this together. That wildfire that you saw, I bet you got the image that I got. A whole lot of women being lifted, shifted into burning embers,
Yeah.
shooting into the sky.
Yeah.
And these circles are forming right now because it's time. It's time. So, yeah, I've got a lot of women that come to me that are pretty damn determined by now. We've been through enough.
Not drawing any more lines in the sand. This is the last one. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
What can I do? How can I do it? I'm not putting up with this, and this.
Yeah.
And that's where we start working on well, there is another way. Let's start working on that.
That's beautiful, Kath. And and it takes kahunas to do this. It's not easy work, which so, we can both appreciate that it's a challenge and it's confronting and scary and all those things. But, I think just by human nature, certainly not identifying clients as doing anything wrong because they're not. We're all human, but I think there's a part of human nature that, we forget that the ones that are teaching us are maybe doing so because they've actually walked the path before us.
Yeah.
So they kind of know what they're talking about. I mean, I'm sure there's the small percentage of people who don't, but in general, the integrity of the industry is pretty intact, I feel,
Hmm.
and is coming again, having with people and having conversations like this and being more authentic. Then people are realizing that yeah, like we've all got amazing gifts to share, and that we all have a story to tell. We've all got that book in us, so to speak. That
Yeah,
we just got to be brave enough to open it.
that's true. That's true. And I think there's not much choice nowadays. For me, I
Yeah.
can't open any book. Oh, there's something going on. Let me look into that. That's my way of living. That's my medicine. That's how
Yeah,
I see the world. I think so many therapists and practitioners are walking that nowadays,
yeah, yeah.
thankfully.
Thankfully, yeah. As long as they're not burning books, that's good because I'm a lover of books for sure. The actual ones that you can hold in your hand. The smell of a book.
Hmm.
Walked past bookstores when I was younger with my dad and just stop and literally, just breathe in the smell of the bookstore. I still do that. It's almost like you could tune into the information that's sort of floating around in particles in your
Yeah,
breath. So,
yeah,
let's talk about this identity reorganization, Catherine, because you describe perimenopause as exactly that, an identity reorganization. So, I'd like to understand that fully because I think that's one of the most useful reframes I've heard for what women are actually experiencing. So, can you dive
yeah.
into what is it, and what happens at this particular stage of a woman's life? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously people talk about the hormone changes and the fact that you're not coping and the nervous system needing help, and that's all true.
Mm,
And it all needs regulating, but we're not talking enough about the identity. I've got a scale that I use, and
mm,
you can either be on the bottom end of the scale or the top scale. And now the top end of the scale is where you're in full capacity, you're embodied, you are sovereign.
mm,
The other end of the scale is what becomes to be noticed as what's revealing that you've been running, patterns you've been running through all of your life. By the time you're in midlife, by the time you're in perimenopause, you've got some identities that have probably kicked in when you were small, that are
mm,
still running, that are becoming more obvious. So for me, there's three main ones. There's the overrider, the one who just keeps going, pushes through, finds way, and does not stop.
yep,
There's the holder, and I suspect many of the therapists and practitioners would recognize this. They're holding everyone else's everything.
yep,
And that really comes with the mother and the martyr complex within that one.
hmm
And then there's the scattered self, which is oh so common nowadays. And I like to think that it's becoming something that people are not proud of anymore,
mm,
that people are slowing down, coming back to center, really knowing who they are and stopping scattering everything everywhere.
yep,
But society and the way we set up our family structures and everything, these three identities, they're huge and they're what become revealed through the perimenopause journey. And your environment, the way you interact with everyone, the roles you've taken on. I've got a quiz that I get everyone to do nowadays that shows them where they're at. And just that understanding of what might be going on can give you a bit of an insight to how you've been compensating
mm.
because you simply can't compensate anymore.
No, I love that, Catherine. I mean, one of my mentors told me at one point when I was just dealing with a lot, and I was like, no, but I've got to keep serving. I've got to keep, teaching and giving and, using the excuse where it is kind of true, but it was also, I can recognize as an excuse of like, no, but this is not work for me. And I get so much out of it when I do it.
Yeah.
That could have been again an attachment in the ego, in some way of just like afraid to change. And she just kept looking at me and just saying, your tide is out. you know, Stop. And like your tide is out. And I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm gonna go and just keep diving, keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. She's like, no, your tide's out. And that was the end of the session. I went home and I was like, oh fuck. had a little, argument with myself. And, after a couple of days, I surrendered to that. I mean, okay, I'm just going to do like, the holder, you say that martyr of like, I've got these great skills, I can help everybody, but to the point of literally destroying myself, especially when my body is just like going, as you said, this is not happening anymore, sister. You can't live like this anymore. You can't keep eating the same foods like this. You can't still
Yeah,
have the same relationships or the, engagements with people and stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's across the board. You're talking about somatic and psychologically and the identity and on a parallel thing with my work, it's the emotional, physical, mental and energetic. So it's the same thing,
mm,
different languaging. It's the trying to get across the full spectrum of the human,
yeah.
everything that changes. So what are the physical signs that this deeper reorganization is underway that you notice in women that come to you?
My goodness.
What do
Well, the
you?
second night, there's a few phases that women go through with the reorganizing of all of this. And I think for a lot of women who are interested in this and who have started looking into it, they're realizing their nervous system state is shot,
Yeah.
quite frankly. And so bringing that back to baseline is key and feeling safe again.
Mm,
'Cause we're running on all sorts of other stories and emotions and situations. So coming back into feeling your own system, not being in that sense of hypervigilance. And
mm,
you and I know that sense very well. We've done it through our lives, through what we've both experienced. And we've done it as as practitioners, we want to watch out for our clients and hold them in whatever way they need to be held. And then I dare say we've both come through that realization into a sense of being safe, spacious,
mm,
breathing out, not trying to figure out what the next step is, not trying to see what's going to come back
yeah.
to bite us, etc. Just being able to breathe out is absolutely huge. And you can't reorganize anything else that's going on until you've done that.
Mm,
Then you literally, it's automatic. You find the identities. There's the protector, controller, there's the martyr, there's the inner child, there's all those deep emotions that you and I know so well when we work with our clients,
yeah.
and the layers that come up that have been held within our bodies, within our somatics, that our system starts showing us.
Mm.
And as that starts to rejig, that's huge.
That's huge.
Absolutely huge.
And that's not even going anywhere near the womb. I mean, that's just
Yeah, yeah,
the outer skirts of the womb, really, before you get into the juicy stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then bit by bit, you can come into that sense of being recalibrated and holding your own field, holding your own self, knowing yourself truer than you have ever known yourself. And it's powerful and it's strong and it's sovereign and it's deep, but it's also light and it's clear. Is
Mm,
what I'm noticing in the women, and it happens fast nowadays. If you are held through this,
mm,
it happens fast because you can go where you need to go. From practitioners like us who have been there, done that, we can hold the field.
mm. Yep. And it's such a privilege to witness women going to that space inside themselves, as you know. Such an honor to witness that because, really, when we're there and we're doing stuff and we're holding them and we're applying bits and pieces and, doing body work and stuff. But ultimately, it's the woman that's giving permission for herself to change and to receive
Yep.
that and to do that, well, as you say, go through the fire and the scary, go through the scary to get to the security, is a massive mind shift. It's a massive mind fuck for a lot of women too, like to actually just go, okay, well, I have this power, but I don't know what it is. How do I connect with that? And I'm going to be pretty uncomfortable if I'm going to investigate this. I want to try and slowly take back, parts of my true self, my sovereignty, my bodily autonomy, whatever it is, maybe a mix of some of those things.
Mm.
I love what you're describing. Now, how is this different for women who are listening, maybe who are on that path or on that fence, sort of just going, yeah, I've heard all this before, it doesn't work, or I tried something natural before and it wasn't for me, or whatever no judgment, whatever the experiences and inner dialogues are for people. How is what you're offering here, what we're talking about, different from and possibly more useful than the hormonal or medical framing that most women receive?
Oh, it's a completely different paradigm, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. Yes, we need to learn how to support ourselves. For me personally, finding out what was going on with my genetics and working with the epigenetics and trauma release patterning was key for me, and knowing how to support my own body naturally,
Mm,
my own systems, my own organs, my own specific everything that is unique to me. That was key. So I love supporting people through that.
mm,
But yeah, we can't just look at one aspect anymore. We are whole, we are complete already. It's coming back to that, it's stripping back the layers,
yeah.
and it's finding ways to do that. Yes, you might have done breath work. Yes, you might have done vagal nerve. They're two of the big things nowadays. Um, but they're not all. The second you start to do things like that, a lot of people stop because they're trying to regain a state of uncomfortable comfort.
Mm,
What they think is normal, they're just trying to push down what's actually going on. But if you're willing to go that bit deeper and find what identities are running and sit with them, and it doesn't have to be for a long time. You and I know how quickly things move nowadays.
mm, mm,
It's a crucible because you're in there for a short amount of time, then you come out. And then you come into that state and working with the energetics of what's going on in the field, where you're back and you're able to hold yourself. So
mm,
that identities, other people, everything, situations in your life, they start to reorganize themselves around you. And that's where I want to get people. I want them to have the tools to recognize wherever they are on that spectrum that I have,
mm.
to know what to do in any given moment, and to have a lifelong toolkit that is simple and clear and easy to use. And I find that holding the field throughout all of that, you and I know that's the key to it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's empowering women.
yeah.
And
Ab-
that's a feeling that a lot of women have never felt before too, I'm sure.
That's so wrong, isn't it?
Mm.
We're on a mission.
All right. I mean, yeah, I know. And obviously as younger women too, I mean, I did some crazy shit to my body. Most of us do. I didn't respect it. I didn't treat it well. I had no idea about my cycles to the extent that I do now, of course. I just like, I didn't have a great introduction to getting my period and wasn't nurtured there. And I think that's a very common story for a lot of women as well, because our mothers weren't really sort of taught that by our grandmothers. It was all very sort of taboo, called, getting the curse and go and hide yourself and all these things. So a lot of shame is the undercurrent in different forms. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Totally hearing you with every single thing you've just said.
Because it's like we went to the same school.
Yeah.
Like, abused through the whole well, the school system's a different story of abuse. Anyway, we won't go into that. Um, so working specifically with nervous system patterns, so you mentioned the vagal nerve, obviously, and yeah, I mean breath work and vagal nerve stuff, and I mean you forgot to add ice baths there. I mean it's like
Absolutely.
it's the big trend. Personally, I've never been drawn to that way of those practices, and that's just me. It does work for some people, and it tends to work. Like I used to equate it to this, Catherine. You'll think this is funny. When I first started teaching yoga, and I was teaching in a gym, and there's you've got yoga that you can teach to people that love the gym. It's very gung ho. It's more yang. It's more like Ashtanga, hardcore sort of yoga. And then
Mm,
you've got the yoga that you would learn in a yoga dedicated studio where you'd be taken through the foundations and the philosophy and things. But two very different approaches to yoga, but still yoga and still yoga reaching people where they're at.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is all fine. So when I say that when the breath work and the ice baths and all this shit, that is going to reach people, and some people have a lot of armory, as a lot of us do, that probably needs to have that sort of agitation before finally they surrender and things soften and they're able to move through more things. Who knows? For other
Yeah.
people, it might just be too much of a shock to the nervous system and actually reiterate or get them regurgitating symptoms. Have you had any? That's just a thought that came out to me. It's not even in my notes. I'm just thinking out loud here. What do you think of that?
Yep, absolutely. That literally happened to me. I didn't realize where my nervous system was at because I'm a practitioner, Denby, and I can hold everyone, no matter where my tide is at. Oh, yeah, that's right. I couldn't.
Yeah. Totally.
So, yeah, I tried a few things and my whole system went haywire. It helps to be held through this by someone who really knows what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not adding DMT or anything to the process either.
God. Oh, we're laughing because we've been there.
I know, and I'm just going to drop this in now as well, just organically. Is like there's a lot of that I see going on as well, of like older women, mature women who might be on the other side of perimenopause now, like I am, and I think you are as well. Or like we've been through the fire, and now they're going into all these DMT and sort of really. I mean, we took that stuff when we were younger a couple of times. It was called ecstasy back in those days. And doing it not always in ceremonial type of spaces and having these really whack experiences and
Mm.
being told or convinced or taught that that's another way to open up, to soften their nervous system and reconnect them and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's another podcast altogether, but I just want to throw that in there because, again, it's like you and I have been around for long enough. We've seen several trends. We've had the plant medicine trend, which has sort of peaked in the yoga industry and sort of subsided, but it's always going to be there. And now we've got the ice baths and the Wim Hof stuff, which, if anyone wants to investigate, he's now been found to be completely inauthentic. And yeah, so there's anything that becomes like flashed over all pathways and all platforms to me is a bit of a red flag when it comes certainly to women's health. It's like this is the latest big fix, and there's a product to go with it as well. It's like I sort of go, yeah, I'll just sit back and watch this.
It's so true.
Anyway, that's just a little tangent there for
No, but it's good. It's good to know. I've had one of the things because people come and see me for the energetic side of things a lot.
yeah.
And they might have gone off and done some journey or this, that, and the other and taken this, that, and the other. And they come back going, I had this experience. It was incredible. And they're a mess. They've opened up, I don't know what. I have to literally help them put themselves back together energetically.
Mm,
And it's interesting because there are so many pathways, yes, but some of them are very destabilizing and you don't realize what you're doing. I
mm,
always work, this is my key, I work with, I call it super conscious.
mm.
Other people can call it spirit, higher self, God, planet, whatever works,
Whatever.
really,
Yeah.
source. I use super conscious because it's very accessible,
Yeah.
and that term kind of works for a lot of the people I work with. And I find that if you're really in line with the truth of who you really are, that greater, larger sense of yourself, you tend not to go there with
Mm,
those other things. And I think that's actually a key for our evolution in these bodies that are going through these processes to also allow that level of evolution to work through your energetics to hold you.
yeah.
It's key.
That's a really important point, Catherine. Thank you for that. Because we've got everything in us. If we just would slow down long enough to connect with what with the medicine that we are, and
Yeah.
trust in that, it's almost like and I'm sure this has happened to you before. You've had people come to see you, and then they either might feel great or afterwards, which I'm sure they do. Then maybe the next day stuff comes up and they feel like crap, and then they go, "Oh, I've got to go and see somebody else because that didn't work," and they over therapize themselves by having 2 or 3 sessions of different modalities, back to back, or a day or so apart within 1 week, and their nervous system obviously just goes completely discombobulated.
Yeah.
So there's that sense of like just trusting that, okay, well, if that felt good, but now there's stuff coming up, it's like almost like you've got, something in your stomach that needs to come out because your body is saying this is no longer useful for me.
Mm.
It's learning how to lean into that because, again, we've all been so conditioned as women and men to, there's a pill for that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you know, just go take this jab or take this pill or shove this thing up your bum or whatever it is. It's going to take that away. And yes, while there may be extreme instances where pain is that bad that you do need support, I'm not criticizing that for those listening who need that sometimes or regularly. But for you and I, the work that we do is constantly peeling back. Well, why does the body feel like that? Keep peeling back. What have we been conditioning? What have we been giving permission for over the years? What have we been unconsciously contributing to our own demise? How is that look and feel. And that's really confronting stuff when you start to dig through that first layer to recognize that, ultimately you, me, I am the one who's given permission for these things to keep impacting and congesting.
Hmm. Absolutely. Everything's a message.
Yeah,
Everything's a message. It's how to interpret it and yeah, how to not over therapize what you're doing
yeah, yeah,
and be able to come back to that sense of stillness and source within
yeah,
and connection to more that you are.
yeah, yeah.
That's magic. That's if there's one thing that people could start doing more of is that inner connection leading to that outer connection. We're already sensing it. We're noticing the women who are rising up and we can feel it, but it's happening on so many levels.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just exploding everywhere.
Yeah.
It's almost like they'll just get the image when you're saying that of just like, imagine that, your grandmother, or even if she's not here with you, just the spirit of your grandmother just holding your hand, say if you were lying in bed feeling like crap and feeling sick or whatever,
Yeah.
having a detox, and your grandmother or your mum just comes and holds your hand, just says, just relax, darling, just breathe, and they just wipe your forehead and pat, stroke your hair and just all those yummy motherly sort of things. And
Mm.
it's just like, you just got to breathe through it, darling. There's nothing we can do. You just got to, meet it and breathe and relax and sleep it off.
Yep.
Kind of
Yep.
like that. That's the
A
image.
beautiful image. I'll go for that.
Yeah, I'll go
That's
for
better
that.
than,
Yeah,
all
so
the
much better
dramatic
than well, so much better than just like, okay, well, keep soldiering on, keep smashing yourself, put your crash helmet on, sister, and keep, firing yourself through life.
yeah,
But
it doesn't
we've
work.
been conditioned.
Yep. Yep.
It's nuts.
It
It's
is a bit.
nuts. Um, in your pre-show notes to me, Catherine, you said, quote, what becomes possible when a woman stops managing her transition and starts inhabiting it? End quote. Now, that word inhabiting is extraordinary. That really hit me there. What does it mean to inhabit your perimenopause?
Mm. So much of what we've been talking about, so much is the literally sitting with what's going on and being held throughout it all
Yeah.
and finding ways to do that. If you're on your own, if you're wanting to find ways to start doing that, sitting and being,
Mm,
switching off the mental for a certain amount each day, being in nature,
mm,
something you can do for yourself because you don't realize how much you're overriding or holding or scattered until you do that in the first place. And bit by bit, finding ways to garner support for yourself and your transition and to have the conversations that needed to be had probably for a long time with the people in your life and the roles you've been playing that you've moved beyond the capacity to play anymore.
yeah. Yeah.
There's some real tools. You and I know that our sessions and our programs and what we do and run will always hold a woman in that way, no matter where they're at, whether it's perimenopause or not,
Mm,
and to help them find, feel, and deal. But to inhabit just that much, if you're doing this, if you're starting and you're wanting to know where to start, I think that's key.
mm.
That involves a bit of honesty. And that involves, I've noticed, a lot of these roles that we're playing come back to try and bite us.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not that anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I'm not doing that. And then all of a sudden, three conversations from people who want you to keep start doing that. Oh no, don't stop in your life. Oh, okay, right. There's some more layers here. So you're inhabiting a deeper layer then. And you're recognizing where this is held in your body, if it's in your fascia, if it's in your liver, if your womb is doing the tightening and the shifting and the changing, you're recognizing this and you're starting to make changes on all those levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of them at once. That is inhabiting this
Yeah.
incredible transition into the empowered person that you always have been as everything else gets stripped away and you come into your own.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Because another one that you always also say is the world needs what's on the other side of your recalibration,
Yeah.
um, or your journey, your catharsis, your lesson, whatever you want to call that. too. And I always say, we're the grandmothers of the next generation. Like we've got to get our shit together, girlfriends. We've got to start really being the grandmas there and holding the torch as
Yeah.
we move forwards and reminding the younger women, our daughters and our children, our grandchildren, etc., that will pass that, they'll pass the information too. It's like, no, this is the original way. These things are not the alternative medicine practices. The allopathic is the alternative. The original is all the things that we're talking about and that work. And there's a reason that they work because they've been around for billions of years, and you are made up of the same elements that these plants, for example, and these tonics, the constituents of that. You're made of the same stuff, and the elements, etc. As you know, so it's like there's so, as you say, there's so many layers to like educating. I mean, that's down the track for most women because first of all, they're feeling like shit and they want to feel better.
Mm.
So you've got to go gently, of course, and just gently massage them towards that realization of like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to feel like that anymore. But what might that be connected to? My marriage or my job or the fact that I drink Coca-Cola every day or wine every night or whatever it is. We all do things that we don't realize, well, sometimes we realize big time, obviously, but some subtle things that we don't think are actually self-sabotagey, and they are.
Yep.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
a process for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's been watching me go through this,
Mm.
and I'm tempted to start up a diary of some sort. Everything I've learned. Hand it to her.
That's so funny. It makes me laugh because when I was in the thick of that journey, and I was caring for my dad dying of cancer and my mum with dementia and all sorts of crazy stuff happening in my life, going
Mm.
through this rite of passage. And it was funny, I did that's when I got into my human garage fascia work, and that was just a godsend, and all my yoga practices, and this container that I offer now is like the offering from the crucible that I went through, another layer, which I'm sure it's a similar with your work, how it does, it changes and adapts as we do. And it's funny, I look back and I go, in those moments of weakness, like the one thing that I would always revert to would be, just a small block of chocolate, but it would be like Turkish delight. Like, what is with that? Turkish delight chocolate. It was just so bizarre. That was my little crutch.
That
And
was the thing.
I don't know, it was just really weird because I don't drink and I don't do anything else. So it was just like, and I've always, I've definitely cleared the chocolate addiction as I've gotten older, and I have no attachment to that now. But when my hormones were going, a bit up and down, there was a lot of stress and pressure of those caring duties.
Yeah.
My sort of safe place was Turkish delight. I'm sure people can relate to that, and something maybe it was fruit and nut or something else, or you know six.
There's rose water. There's rose water in that. You're coming back to the heart for you, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're now advocating Turkish delight for everyone.
Yeah. I'm not sponsoring Turkish delight here. It is a disclaimer. It's all part of it, isn't it? Look, you've mentioned the word sovereign before, and you and I are totally on that path. So how do you believe we model sovereign, embodied, alive womanhood,
Mm.
the women coming up behind us? Like, what does that actually look like on a daily basis? Just like one or two points.
Yeah. Yeah. If you are truly being embodied within your own sovereignty, I find that your decisions are very easy to make and they're very clear.
Yep.
And they're not a pushback. They're not a pulling in. They're not a convincing. They're not a yelling if you're going through that particular phase of the peri there. They're a simple knowing and a simple conversation and a simple moving on. And for me, when people are doing that, there's less drama, there's less interplay, there's less power plays, and there's living your truth
Mm.
in whatever way that is, through whatever level of the peri journey you might be in that particular moment, because we know it shifts throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. And I always ask everybody this question too, Catherine. It's like, what do you want most women in the thick of this transition to know? Like women who are currently in the fire, not yet through it, something that you wish that you had been told or taught before, everything went, you know, sideways. Everything went south. Insert your own word in there. What do you wish someone had told you before it all happened?
Yeah, there's no ready, set, go. Here we are.
No.
There's no starting point.
Yeah.
You might not realize you started.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I've developed an 8-week program, an intensive for women going through this. And I wish that is literally, as you and we develop our medicines come from our own experiences. So the recalibration intensive would be what I wish years ago now I had. Yeah, find your tribe, find your support, start getting help sooner. The second you start noticing things aren't quite the way they used to be, and you're not quite the way you used to be, you don't have to do this alone. And you are, throughout all of this, while you feel you're unraveling and dissolving and things are falling off,
Mhm.
you are coming into a truer version of you than you've ever experienced in your entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful, darling. And it's true too. This is not just lip service to everyone listening. It's true. You've got to walk through that transition. It's like birthing the baby. No one can do that for you. It doesn't matter how many doulas or interventions or whatever's you have. You've got to enter that portal and connect with the wisdom of your body and trust in the wisdom of your body too. And I mean, how amazing, how different would our generation be if our mums had learnt the work that we're teaching now? And our grandmothers. That's I always sort of think of it like that, because when you think of your daughters and then your grandchildren, like this is such a beautiful legacy to leave,
Mm.
to reestablish what's always been there just in the background, but this connection to Mother Nature, and not from the flouncy, let's all go run around naked around bonfires or swim in the ocean with dolphins. I mean, that's lovely to do, but that's not necessarily empowering on all levels for the divine feminine or the embodied feminine either.
Mm.
And I love what you said at the beginning, Kathrine. Despite all of our best intentions and however many, possibly storage containers full of toolboxes that we may have as teachers, we still go through it. We're all going through this in,
Yep.
in our own way, and that in itself is a beautiful sense of community and support. If we don't have it from our own mums, for example, or if we don't have sisters that we can, refer to or walk this path with as well.
Yeah, isn't it funny how we're all being drawn together in different ways now?
Yeah.
This
Funny, not funny.
generation- yeah, funny or not so. The cycle breaker generation.
It totally is like, you shall not pass. The staff in the ground is like, no, all those old paradigms and all that patriarchal
Done.
bullshit, and there's like all that.
Done. Done. No, that one's done too. No, 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 no.
Done. Awesome, Kathrine. Thank you. This has been a great chat, and we'll have to do another one. And to anybody listening, I hope this conversation gave you a new lens for what is happening in your body and your life right now. That you're not a condition to be managed. That the identity reorganization is a transmission waiting to happen, and it feels like, and certainly from what Kathrine's explained and shared, it's like it's your birthright. It's
Mm.
your birthright to feel good and to grow and evolve, as we've said. You can find Kathrine's work in the show notes, and I encourage you to go deeper with her.
Thank you so much, Denby. This was just fantastic to reconnect in this way. And hopefully, every single woman listening to this is reconnecting with herself.
Yep. So
Yeah,
be it. So it was. So it will be. All those ones.
done.
Thanks, Kath. That's a wrap on today's episode of Wildfire. And if something in this conversation landed for you, sat with you, or lit something up inside or underneath you, I'd love for you to share it with a woman in your life you feel needs to hear it. Because that's how this medicine travels. Woman to woman, story to story, heart to heart. If you're ready to go deeper into your own midlife journey, come find me at dembysheather.com. The door to Mana Yoga Medicine is always open. And if today's conversation moved you, the most generous thing you can do is leave a review. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it helps Wildfire reach the women who need it most. Until next time, stay in your fire,
stay on the rise, and remember, you are not burning out. You are becoming. That's a wrap on today's episode of Wildfire. And if something in this conversation landed for you, sat with you, or lit something up inside or underneath you, I'd love for you to share it with a woman in your life you feel needs to hear it. Because that's how this medicine travels. Woman to woman, story to story, heart to heart. If you're ready to go deeper into your own midlife journey, come find me at dembysheether.com. The door to Mana Yoga Medicine is always open. And if today's conversation moved you, the most generous thing you can do is leave a review. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it helps Wildfire reach the women who need it most. Until next time, stay in your fire, stay on the rise, and remember, you are not burning out. You are becoming.